always now. They are eternally present, and present with intensity and participation and commitment. They have to be. So again, the child, the poet, the athlete, and the saint. So in Christianity, Jesus refers so often, if you would like to enter into eternal life, become like these, the little children, right? It comes out of children. Poets, artists are known for being in touch with the supernatural to create something so real, so valuable, so memorable, so much of an impact on society that they're almost experiencing at another level, right? People who are engaged in athletics, Dr. Sheen would argue, athletics is very much in that same moment, eternally now, as well as the saint. St. Francis of Assisi, very much known for always being present to each encounter, whether it be nature, whether it be animals, whether it be people, especially people who are vulnerable. Our Vincent de Paul would say that. The saint is our patron saint, but being alongside people who are on the margins of society. Vincent de Paul is known for saying, go to the poor, there you will find God. So we say, sports can be a spiritual act. Similarly, sports can be seen as redemptive. The story of Tiger Woods, very, very interesting as a sign of American values and also American media. Who here knows Tiger Woods? Knows of Tiger Woods? What would you say about Tiger Woods? So pretty much everybody, right? First time everybody rose their hand today. What's one word you could say about Tiger Woods? Or who is Tiger Woods? Golfer?
Drugs.
Drugs? Like prescription drugs? Okay.
Caught up in drugs.
Caught up in drugs? He's caught up in that. First $1 billion athlete. Youngest person to ever win the Masters. Right? Lots of things you can say about Tiger Woods. His story, I think, tells a lot about society as well. Tiger Woods wears a red shirt. What day? What day of the week does he wear a red shirt if you follow golf? Who follows golf? So you all know Tiger Woods, but who follows golf? One person? What color shirt does he wear on Sundays?
Red.
Red, right. Wears a red shirt on Sundays. This might not be as much for this audience, but on Sundays, on Sunday afternoons, he shared his gifts with millions, enabling them to forget reality and vicariously experience thrills that were more exhilarating than anything felt in a church pew. That's on a new book on Tiger Woods by Jeff Benedict and Armin Kang that just came out this year. And it talks a lot about Tiger's rise to fame, his fall, but now how he's using sport as a way to redeem himself. Right? Anybody read the New York Daily News? Probably not on paper, but are you familiar with the publication? So there's New York Times, New York Daily News, there's the New York Post. 2013, the New York Daily News had a cover story on Tiger Woods for 21 consecutive days. The most ever. More than the 9/11 terrorist attacks in 2001. The Daily News had a front page story on Tiger Woods in 2009 for 21 straight days. Why are we so fascinated with Tiger Woods? Do you remember what happened in 2009 that caused him that? A little bit what Peter was saying, right? He might have been part of the drugs, right? He was on Ambien, he was on some painkillers. His wife wasn't happy with him at the time. Right? He drove his car, got in an accident, and then revelations kept coming forward from other people. And at that moment, this is why I want to say there's some redemption here. Fans, I feel, and now this is something that we see just recently, he won his first championship in over 1,876 days. But Tiger, in 2009, became human for the first time. People who would see Tiger Woods to say, you know what, I could recognize that. Like, there's feelings I have. So now I can identify more with Tiger Woods because I understand, like, my wife's mad at me sometimes, right? Maybe not to the extent that Tiger Woods was, but you know, he's not perfect. He's an amazing athlete, right? An incredible athlete, but there's more that I feel in common with him. Yet he's still now, it's like America loves a comeback story, right? Watch March Madness, you see the Cinderellas, you see Lots of stories in that. So we see that Tiger was able to come back. And one thing I think also fascinating about this is we see, and I'll get to it a little bit here too, how technology and money, it's a very fascinating thing. So Tiger Woods here in this tournament, he just won it, right? Fans were literally coming up to him, right? Have any of you been to a sports event recently? How many have been to a sports event recently? All right. Did you take a selfie there, a video on your camera? Did, right? Might show that you were there. Tiger Woods, so when he first was coming up, so he's been in the public eye for over 20 years. People used to clap, used to scream. Here, people are taking videos, right? Like I want to show a selfie, I'm here with Tiger Woods, but they also wanted to show that they're showing support for him. So they would scream. They would just scream at Tiger Woods and just take a video of that. I'm here, I'm screaming, ah! And he said he never experienced anything like that in his life. But I think it shows a little bit about how Tiger uses sports as a redemptive thing. Because like it or not, he was viewed by a lot of people as a conquering hero and sometimes as people would be able to share with him more than they would share with someone in a church pew. This summer, the World Cup, anybody here soccer fans who watch the World Cup? A few? Okay. Who won the World Cup this year? Remember?
I was on vacation.
You're on vacation? Yeah, France, right. You have the shirts too. That's good. So that's not as much in America, but there is, I remember watching it. My wife is part French, so I was big into France this summer, and then won the World Cup. But before it was France versus Croatia, right? The announcer says, John Strong, welcome to the greatest collective experience we have as human beings. The greatest collective experience we have as human beings. That's coming from the sports announcer saying, the World Cup is the greatest experience we have. Why do you think he would say that? What's so special about the World Cup that that's the greatest experience we have as human beings? Yeah.
Brings everyone together.
Brings everybody together?
Yeah, I was gonna say, basically brings like the whole world together.
Yeah, something again, commonality, right? We have something in common. Do you want to?
Yeah, everyone's like sharing the same interests while
Right. Everyone's sharing interests. Most of us come from countries that are, America didn't make it this year, but we might have some interest in certain countries to be involved. So, and journalist Frank Lefort would add, soccer isn't the same as Bafta Buddhism, but is often more deeply felt than religion, and just as much a part of the community's fabric, a repository of traditions. So again, talking about that community, right? People are involved, people understand what it is. There's more commonalities with soccer than there are with many religions, right? Some would say it's more easy to be a fan than it is to be a member of a church. Okay, so we were saying earlier about technology, money, and sometimes that competitiveness, right? Maybe getting in the ring with Mike Tyson when he was talking to the reporter afterwards, when he was saying, you know, I want his heart, I want to eat these children, praise be Allah. Like that's quite a contrast, right? I'm competitive, I'm in this to win it, yet I still am very devout in my religious beliefs. Which to me begs the question, if you play a violent sport, or if you're engaged in a violent activity, like football, like boxing, where you physically need to dominate or impose your will. Who here played a sport where part of the sport is imposing your will on another, right? We saw earlier the wrestling, right, with Jacob. If you're really trying to hurt, can you be religious, right? Can you be devout? Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the whole idea of like any of those contact sports are physically harm anyone. I think it's more of like, you know, like a competition.
Sure.
Sure. So it just so happens to be like physically.
I like that. I like that. That's a really good interpretation of that. And I think a lot of it depends on the intention, right, of the person in it, right? Because some people might be in it just like we saw early on, right, with Jacob wrestling the angel. They were both growing, right? And sometimes when you engage in sports, do you ever hear the phrase you play down to the competition? So if you're playing someone that's maybe not as good as you might not play as well as you're capable of playing. But if you play against an opponent who's equal to or even better to you, then you rise up, right? And you become elevated, and again, you might have a more heightened experience of that. And here we see that. So that's a good comment. Thank you for that, because it might not necessarily mean you want to hurt somebody, but that could be a consequence of it.
Especially people that are like, I feel like And I feel like any sport, like whether contact or not, you're still like reaching that point if you're really devoted.
Right. I like that. I like that. And so here I would say too, this is something that Bikram Yoga, Bikram Chaudhary, he's been more controversial, but his teaching, I think, it has been well established here. Anybody here familiar with Hatha Yoga, Bikram Yoga? But it's again, talking about the contrast of purpose for sport, right? What is the purpose that you're playing a sport? Here's the biggest difference between exercise and yoga. The purpose of what Americans think of as exercise is to reach a sports or fitness goal, regardless of the cost to the body. The purpose of yoga is to heal, using the body to create health. That's its dharma, its nature. It's like fire's dharma is to burn, and the wind's dharma is to blow, and the function and destiny of yoga is to heal. And fitness is merely a byproduct of this health-building process. In my later years, and I think this happens to a lot of people who engage in sports when they're younger, the body can't keep up. We even see that with Tiger Woods, right? He's not as dominant as he's been. Michael Jordan, right? Tom Brady is possibly an exception, right? But most athletes hit their pinnacle before 30 or early 30s. Once you become 35, 40, what can you do? I think transitioning to something like yoga is a way to continue that type of competitive spirit with it. But it's something that's different from the American culture. We talked about earlier today how the NFL, particularly in America, football is at the top of the pyramid, right? Like that's a sport that most people follow, most people like. It is a violent sport though, and I like the panelist this morning was talking about how that aspect of NFL, one thing that really concerns him is the life after the game, right? The concussions. What might happen physically to someone who might not have the proper health insurance after playing a contact sport for so many years. What's going to happen? Is there something we can do or that we should do to kind of tone down and to simplify the game? But at what cost would that be, too? Because then the product would be different. The consumers are very different. People who want to watch the game might want to watch some of those violent hits. But I did want to kind of throw this out to the topics for discussion now. Some of the things that we touched on. In what ways can sports enhance one's spirituality? How can competitive sports be a detriment? Possibly yes, possibly no. Do organized religions go too far with their endorsements of sports as a way to evangelize? What sports activities do you feel best translates to mystical or spiritual experiences? And what does it say about our society that sports have such prominence in America? Do some Americans treat sports as religion? I'm open, and please, any questions, you can answer those, or any other questions you had on the presentation, or your own experiences, I'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
So, I was like a long distance runner for a short period of time.
Nice. Okay.
And I was more like a sprinter when it came to like actual track season.
Okay.
And the one thing, like I say, like I learned like positively from running long distance was that strength in like your mentality, basically. And it was something that like my first race, I didn't know what to expect, like going into it. And it was like definitely like a 2.5 miles of race.
Yeah.
And I ended up having like a problem with it because I got a fly in my nose, like halfway through my nose. And like my coach was just like, keep running, like you can't stop. And I was like, I know I can't stop and everything. I'm good, there's no way I'm just stopping because like I would have done this. And it was just like, it was like a challenge to go through because you never expect like a force like coming over you being like stop, like you can stop, you don't have to stop going. And like I remember just going down like the finish, like there's like a finish line, but it's more of like separated long distance running, like the last 100 meters is like flagged off and everything. I remember going down there. And I was just like, okay, like you're well trot, like you're actually a sprinter, so like that was my time to like basically surpass the other people that I could. And I remember just like after that race, I basically like passed out because it was like my first race ever running distance. And I'm like, I was telling
Yeah.
I'm used to doing short races and everything, and like mentally, you know, that made me stronger in some way, that like, I would do things and like, just try to push out the negative thoughts while I'm doing something. I don't know, I just like learned that
Yeah.
along the way.
So you felt like a spiritual experience almost, like running that race, coming towards the end?
Yeah, I feel like long
Yeah.
distance running is definitely like that, because
Yeah.
the only battle, like, your body can physically run that much, like, you're
Right,
training
right.
to run that much, so you
Right.
can do it. It's just that mental battle with yourself,
Yeah.
you know, that you have to just like, just keep on going.
Right. No, that's great, and I think that's a lot of what Dr. Sheehan writes about, right? Actively minded, heart and body, the child poets say active. And I think for him, as running, that runner's euphoria, that runner's high is something that can really bring you to a sense of heightened awareness. Yes, Amber?
Yeah, just to add on to what you said, like I did track as well. So,
Oh.
you kind of get a sense of like dedication
Yeah.
and endurance. So it kind of connects to like spiritual thinking, because it makes you kind of like think about what, you know, like what you want to believe in,
Right.
like how far you want to go.
Right. That's beautiful. And I think another individual sport like running, where you have that, right? You're there alone, you can kind of be in the zone, right? And you can feel that runner's high. I think that's wonderful. One of the things, again, about running, what if it's competitive race though, right? Like, so you're at the blocks, right? You're a sprinter, or you're at the thing. And what if in running or any sport, whether it be baseball or golf or track or basketball or class, you want to beat the other person, right?
But that's not what running is really about. That's something that you learn over time, that like, no matter what sports you're in, it's a battle with yourself. That's the one thing, like, my coach emphasis on. He's like, it doesn't matter, like, if you didn't beat someone else. It matters that, you know, you have a personal record to break, or like, if you're not feeling that way, like, what is your goal? Like, you have to make a personalized goal, or else, like, it's never going to be possible to win everything.
Right.
You know, and like, everyone likes to say, like, put your goal up to the maximum capacity, like, you want to be the best, like, then go be the best. Well, like, you have to think realistically that, like, what is my best?
Right. No, well, I think that's a very mature way of looking at it, right? Like having like a personal best, right? A PR, PB, however you call it. But I'm curious, some of the athletes here, you mentioned earlier you play sports. There was a scene, I don't know if you saw it over the summer. Who plays baseball here? I think a few of you, right? This was a high school game. Remember, and the pitcher and the batter were best friends? Do you guys
Oh,
see this film?
yeah, that's a championship game.
Remember what happened? So they were best friends, right? Growing up, they were best friends. They were both very excellent athletes. The pitcher strikes out his best friend. They're on opposing teams, and he just like felt dejected, right? So the pitcher comes back and embraces him and hugs him.
It was like the state championship game.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
The first
right.
thing he did was like go and hug.
Exactly, right. Did you think that was abnormal to do? Would you see that like the Red Sox or the Dodgers? Would you think like Kershaw or whoever, right? I think sometimes when you get to a level of super competitiveness, there's almost like that, like Tiger, as much as he was known to be in the zone and like an expert, his thing, he was an assassin, right? He was there to beat the opponent, and that was his mentality, and that's how he was so great. I think if you look at Tom Brady, one of the things that makes him stand apart is that, have you guys watched the Tom versus Time? He talks about some of his spirituality, but he's obsessed with winning, right? Michael Jordan, same thing, obsessed with winning. Like these guys wanted to beat you so bad they could feel it, right? And I think that's interesting to me because you see somebody who is probably having these spiritual experiences in the sport, being very, very involved, but at the same time, many religions are about promoting peace and justice, right? And trying to have community, but you're trying to beat somebody else, right? And that's, to me, I think there's tension there, but I'm curious to see what you might have thought to that, like either from that experience you saw over the summer with baseball or even your own experiences playing sports. Do you feel that the competition sometimes gets in the way of the positive aspects, or do you feel that it's